Welcome to the deep dive. This week, wow, you've sent us into the absolutely wild world of me and the boys wrestling. And let me tell you, it sounds like total pandemonium over there.
Oh, yeah.
Kicking things off, James Owen Brown, Booker Man himself, gave a solo address right at the start.
Yeah, very unusual.
We're going to unpack what that was all about and, well,
Yeah.
everything else that's been happening.
It was a really strange start, wasn't it? Like, almost like he felt he had to talk directly to, well, to everyone, really, about the state of things. You could definitely sense that maybe things haven't been, totally smooth sailing behind the scenes lately.
Exactly. He broke the fourth wall, didn't he? Talking straight up about the challenge of managing that roster, especially with all the new people coming in from the NXG crossover.
Right.
He even admitted he's felt a bit lost, like trying to balance everyone's storylines and keep things moving. It sounded like a massive headache, honestly.
Well, what's fascinating there is getting that little peek behind the curtain, into the creative process. He mentioned how over at NXG, the wrestlers apparently have more say in their booking.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is like a big contrast to his more structured approach for me and the boys. And the sheer number of wrestlers now seems to be really stretching that structure thin.
No kidding.
No.
And the action in the ring, just as chaotic as the backstage stuff sounds, you've got this ongoing and apparently hellish feud between Buzzsaw Butcher and Dr. Volcano.
Brutal stuff.
Then the debut of the Splash Brothers, who look totally dominant. Canada Gold making this like completely out of nowhere appearance.
So weird.
The Key Bessers seemingly finishing their full turn to the heel turn, right, after some
Yeah.
big friction with NXG. Then there was that unbelievable draw where Frenchie actually got set on fire.
I still can't quite wrap my head around that one. Set on fire.
Crazy. Plus, the debut of JJ Dayboss, D-Block, leading his crew to win War Games, which is basically, that giant chaotic cage match thing.
Right. Total mayhem.
And somehow, through all of that, Frenchie keeps his King of the Ring crown, beats DMP, and wins the Only Heels title. It's a lot to take in.
It truly is.
Yeah.
But hey, that's why we're here, right? To sift through all the madness and pull out the important bits for everyone listening.
Okay, let's start with Booker Man's address then. It sounds like he was pretty blunt about the fact that some of his big ideas haven't quite worked out. He specifically mentioned a planned heel turn for himself and some cross-promotional stuff with NXG that, well, just didn't happen.
Yeah, and what's interesting is just how open he was about it. Like the transparency there. He didn't really try to spin it, just admitted, hey, this didn't go as planned, especially with the NXG collaboration.
Yeah.
That whole idea of him becoming a villain, maybe even bringing over some NXG belts,
Yeah.
sounds like it stalled because of issues on the NXG side of things, which, it really points to how tricky these cross-promotion storylines can be,
It's true.
even when it seems like they're closely connected.
Yeah.
Different creative ideas, logistical problems, stuff happens.
And he specifically mentioned Cameron Taylor, right? Said Taylor was owed a title shot and that Booker Man had seen him as a really big part of this season. Sounds like there might have been some, I don't know, miscommunication or just conflicting plans that stopped it from happening.
Exactly. It seems like the different ways me and the boys and NXG operate kind of clashed. Booker Man likes his controlled narratives. NXG is apparently more open, more wrestler-driven.
Yeah.
And yeah, seems like that led to his plans getting derailed a bit.
Okay, turning to the ring action. This Buzzsaw Butcher versus Dr. Volcano feud described as hellish. Dr. Volcano got the win this time, but it sounds like this thing is nowhere near finished.
Yeah, the key word there is intensity. It sounds like it wasn't just a wrestling match. It was like a brutal fight, personal. Both guys pushing limits. And the fact that it's been building for a while suggests, real bad blood there. It's probably just going to keep escalating.
And speaking of things escalating, Sweet Death finally got a huge win over Mishi. In an ambulance match, no less. Not only did she win, securing a future title shot, but the stipulation means Mishi can't challenge again right away. That's a pretty big deal.
Right. It really shows how consequences matter in the storytelling. Mishi's past actions, Sweet Death's drive, it all led to this clear result. And an ambulance match itself, having to literally put your opponent in the ambulance, it's violent, it's final, could be a real turning point for them.
Then we had the Splash Brothers debuting in a tornado tag match. For anyone not familiar, tornado tag means everyone's legal, all in the ring at once, usually just pure chaos.
Total chaos. Yeah.
And apparently the Splash Brothers just looked incredibly dominant, took out Gordy Mack and Superintendent Dixon pretty fast. So, boom, right away they're contenders for the tag titles held by Frenchie and RJ the Terrible.
That's how you make an entrance, right? a really impactful debut. By just demolishing established guys, they've instantly changed the whole tag team picture. Poses a really interesting challenge for Frenchie and RJ.
And who saw Canada Gull showing up? Seriously. Apparently interfered in the Selena Snow versus Lady Strange match, attacked Selena, and then got involved in the tag match later, only to end up as the butt of the joke. That sounds
Yeah,
awkward.
it really does. It kind of highlights the ongoing, maybe sometimes clunky integration between the Me and the Boys and NXT rosters, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like, maybe Canada Gull wanted to help her NXT buddies, but the way it played out sounds like maybe a clash of styles or maybe just some unintended comedy in the Me and the Boys setting.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder about the different vibes between the two groups.
And the Quebecers seems like they are fully embracing the villain role now. That heel turn looks complete, especially with Frenchie leading the charge, just stirring everything
Oh,
up.
definitely.
His stuff with the King of the Ring crown and that absolutely brutal Iron Man match against Torch. I mean, again, getting set on fire in a wrestling match. That's next level
He's just
extreme.
the classic wrestling arc, though, right? The fall from grace. They started out more honorable, it seemed, but now, totally gone. Probably pushed by all the conflict with NXT.
Seems likely.
And that Iron Man match, no rules, just go till the time runs out, ending with Frenchie literally on fire. That's a shocking escalation of their villainy. It also makes you wonder, maybe there's some tension within the Quebecers, like maybe RJ isn't totally cool with setting people on fire.
Interesting point. What about JJ Dayboss debuting? He had a match against the Stroop, and the Stroop got the win. But Bookerman mentioned wanting to maybe put JJ Dayboss against Buzzsaw eventually, since they use the same finishing move. That could be cool.
Yeah, introducing a new character always adds that unpredictability,
Yeah.
new stories. And even though JJ didn't win his first match, the fact that Bookerman's already thinking about future plans for him, especially that finisher versus finisher idea with Buzzsaw, it suggests he's meant to be a player. It's a smart way to build interest and maybe a future rivalry.
D-Block also got a big win, leading his team to victory in War Games. Sounds like a seriously tough, chaotic battle. That could definitely shake up the power balance between the different groups and Me and the Boys.
For sure. War Games matches,
Yeah.
with the two rings, the cage, teams entering one by one, they're inherently high stakes. Winning something that brutal gives D-Block's team a ton of credibility and momentum. You often see alliances shift and new rivalries pop up after something like that.
And finally, the main event. Frenchie somehow beats DMP. He keeps that controversial King of the Ring crown, and he wins the Only Heels title too. Wild.
Wow.
So now that sets up a future match with Cameron Taylor for the crown, which should be really interesting given their history and what Bookerman said earlier about his original plans for Taylor.
Yeah, Frenchie winning, despite all the chaos and questionable stuff he's done, really cements him as the top bad guy in Me and the Boys right now. Holding both the crown and the Only Heels title makes him a massive target.
Huge target.
And that looming match with Cameron Taylor, knowing the backstory, knowing Bookerman's unfulfilled plans, it just adds this whole layer of personal drama and anticipation. Should be good.
So let's quickly recap this whirlwind week. We had Bookerman's surprisingly honest take on the booking challenges, his massive plan that kind of fizzled out, including his own heel turn and the NXT crossover ideas.
Right, the transparency.
The hellish Buzzsaw Butcher versus Dr. Volcano feud rolled on. Dr. Volcano won this round, but it's clearly not over. Sweet Death got a huge ambulance match win over Mishi, earning a title shot and blocking Mishi from an immediate rematch.
Big implications there.
The Splash Brothers arrived with a bang, looking dominant in their Tornado tag debut, setting their sights on Frenchie and RJ's belts. Canada Gull's surprise appearance kind of went sideways.
Yeah, unexpectedly comical, it sounds like.
The Quebecers fully cemented their heel status, punctuated by Frenchie's insane Iron Man match draw with Torch, where he got set on fire. JJ the Boss debuted, losing to the Stroop, but with potential future plans hinted at.
The Buzzsaw connection, yeah.
D-Block scored that War Games win for his team, and the main event saw Frenchie beat DMP, keeping the crown, winning the Only Heels title, and setting up that future showdown with Cameron Taylor.
That covers it. A truly chaotic week. You can really see how all these different threads are tangling and evolving. It's a very dynamic situation over there.
Absolutely. And thinking about all of it, the alliances shifting, the betrayals, the grudges, what do you think is going to be the most volatile feud to watch next? And what are the maybe long-term effects of this NXT crossover and Bookerman just trying to manage this massive, diverse roster?
That's a great question.
It really makes you think about the individual stories, the motivations behind these big characters, like Bookerman hinted at in his opening talk.
That really is the key takeaway, isn't it? Like, under all the spectacle, the crazy matches, the big storylines, these are still individuals with their own goals, their own frustrations, their own histories, and how those personal things mix with the big picture narratives.
Yeah.
That's what's going to shape me and the boys' wrestling going forward in probably some very unpredictable, maybe even explosive ways. It really pushes you to look past the surface, doesn't it? Consider the human side driving all the action.